this is every year I come up here and you always have some big new project. Tell me about the Peacemaker here.
Well, the Peacemaker is a Convair B-36B, and it was built in the 1940s. It's a 6-engine bomber that at that time was the largest aircraft in the world. It had a wingspan of 230 feet, and this is a 1/12 scale replica of the B-36B, which means it's got about a 19-foot 2-inch wingspan.
Right behind you, man.
When you decide on a big project, how did you come to, I'm going to make this plane?
Well, actually my father worked for Consolidated LT during the war, and which became Convair after the war. And he always loved the B-36, so I sort of built it for him. He's in his 90s now, and he'll get a chance hopefully to see it fly. He's in Florida, and I'll be taking it to Florida in October.
Cool. Now how do you transport this?
It comes apart, and the tail section comes off in pieces, and the outboard wing panels come off, so it's actually fairly easy to travel with. I have a 14-foot trailer and it fits in there quite nicely.
Now tell me, how long did it take you to build something like this?
Well, it took, I drew the plans up in 2006, but I lost interest when last year a friend of mine was, Bob Walker from Robart, actually retired owner of Robart, told me that he would build a landing gear and engine extensions if I build a B-36, and I said, oh, would I?
Yeah.
And so the two of us collaborated, and he made a beautiful scale landing gear for this thing, and the engine extensions, which are absolutely necessary for technical reasons to get the center of gravity in the right place. And so we work together, and I'm sorry that he can't be here talking to you today, but he's not feeling real well. So.
Now it's 6 engines, and tell me about the engines then.
Well, it's the engines in here are Zenoa G26s, and they're relatively small for such a large airplane, but I wanted to try to simulate or try to get some realism, the plane looking a bit like a B-36, and as I recall it anyway. So these engines are pretty darn reliable, and I use them a lot in my larger 4-engine planes.
Now, any special preparations when you get ready to fly it, besides putting it together, gassing it up, and charging the retracts?
Well, you're always looking for issues. You do like you would in a full scale. You walk around and make an inspection of the various things that can go wrong. However, quite probably one of these days I'll miss something important and we'll have a smoking hole at the end of the runway. But no, I do spend a fair amount of time checking the plane out before it's flown.
And how does it fly then?
Oh, like a grain truck. It's on a hot day like today, it's relatively sluggish. It takes a long takeoff roll. You might have caught that on film. It's a nice flying airplane otherwise, but once you pull the power back on it, it's not a glider.
Okay.
It does sink very rapidly.
What are you thinking about next year for a big project?
I don't want to say that right now because I'm not sure.
Spoiling him at this field because it's such a big field. But he has landed a lot smaller fields in Midwest than here in Wisconsin. But like I said, he's a very talented pilot. But